Got my notes on it. Oh, okay, got it.
Okay, here we go. I believe we're live. Let me just mute.
Got my notes on it. Oh, okay, got it.
Okay. All right. So welcome everybody. Madelaine and Amalia here, bringing you the cosmic chat for this upcoming Virgo full moon, which will occur on February 24th at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, 4:30 a.m. Pacific. And we've missed you all. It's been a little while. We had to record super early for the past two moon cycles, and Madelaine was traveling and I was traveling, and we're Madelaine's still traveling, but at least we're in the country. We're in the same country together. And wow, what a whirlwind it's been the past month or so. I know from just from what we shared from the moon cycle energies, there was a lot of we had that Leo full moon, we had the Aquarius new moon. And when I think about Leo and Aquarius, there's that fiery Leo energy where there's things are going to be highlighted, things are going to be brought up, things are going to be just really there for you to see, there for you to burn up or release, or there for you to really revel and enjoy. And then we have the Aquarius new moon, which is this whole new way of thinking and approaching life, and thinking outside the box and realizing that you're part of a bigger picture. It's not just about self, kind of like Leo can be a little self-centered. Aquarius is like, hey, there's all of us. We're all here in this together. And how that showed up for each of us will likely be our own little storyline, but there's an underlying energy. Now we're coming into this Virgo full moon, and Virgo is the goddess or the virgin. It's this earth energy. It's very organized and practical, but it also relates to health and your day to day and your work. And so you might be feeling some of those changes. I know that I have been. I know that my partner has been, and really just trying to acclimate to what's coming up and shift. And we've got some planetary energies along with this full moon that I know Madelaine's going to talk about, but I just want to touch in on it because when I was looking at this full picture of this moon cycle and the story that it's telling, a couple things really jumped out at me. And that is Saturn and Mercury are very, very close to the sun, which means it's opposing the moon because the sun and the moon are opposite each other in the wheel. And what I find interesting about this is that the sun is in Pisces, which can be hypersensitive, very sensitive, and it's highlighting these aspects of this closeness with Saturn at 9 degrees, and the sun is at 5 degrees, and Mercury at 2 degrees. So when I look at this and I think of Saturn in aspect to the sun like this, it is about showing your authentic self while also forming boundaries in certain instances where you might need to do that in order for you to be authentic. There's also that energy of Mercury, which there may be a little bit, and because of its opposition to the moon, there might be a little bit of trouble in communicating or understanding one another, especially when it comes to emotional topics. Like I'm even beginning to feel a little bit of that myself. And we've also got the moon trine Jupiter, which is, I perceive that as a fairly supportive energy because it's Jupiter, which is, expansive and benefic. It could also expand some of the discomfort, but it really is a supportive energy to this moon cycle. So Madelaine, I'm curious, when we were just talking before we got on the live about the energy of the same opposite moon cycle. So that would be the Virgo new moon that happened in September. And you were saying you wanted to share a little bit about kind of comparing and contrasting the planetary energies from then and now, and maybe the story that's continuing to unfold when we take into consideration all that's going on with Saturn, which is also a planet of foundation and structure and a planet of karma. So, people may be feeling some intensity around this moon cycle, as well as Chiron and the North Node conjunction that's taking place, and the woundedness that we're all likely experiencing on some level or form that could prove to be very uncomfortable and really transformational when it comes to our destiny.
Yes. You said it all, Amalia. You said a lot. I mean, there really is a lot going on, and I'm impressed that you're seeing all of this now. That's great. You've got your people, it starts to click after a while, astrology, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about this full moon is it's the 6 month harvest of the new moon, September 14th, 2023, right? So,
Right.
and that new moon was made a really nice kite, really positive kite. And we had Saturn in retrograde and Mercury was in retrograde. And then in this new moon, we have Mercury and Saturn combust with the sun, which is almost a retrograde energy. It's kind of a similar thing. So we've got a Saturn that is combust and a Mercury in combustion too, because Mercury is at, well, we've got Mercury at 241 degrees and the sun is at 5 and Saturn is at 9. So combustion is within, I think, 17 degrees for Saturn. So anyway, so Saturn is the energy of Father Time, and it's a malefic, so it blocks things. It stops us until we're mature and ready for it. And when Saturn is in retrograde, it's slowing us down, making us go back and do things right, making us, now it's in the sign of Pisces, so it's like it's very karmic, because Pisces is a karmic energy. Virgo is tends to be the opposite of the karmic line, because Virgo is, where are we a victim? Oftentimes Virgo in your chart is where you tend to play victim. So we're transforming we're maturing out of some sort of victim inability. It's a Mercury ruled lunation, so there's my throat.
Yeah.
Vacation stuff going to come up here, because Mercury is in detriment in the sign of Pisces. So it's going to be interesting. So we're looking at maturity needing, communication maturity needing to apply practical, because Virgo is practical. And here's something else. Are we ready to jump in on this? Because I guess as well. I'll share this. I'm going to share the screen, which was so interesting because I pulled a card today on my I love to study the transits with tarot just to get sort of more depth on it. So anyway, the Virgo, this is the tarot card that aligns with the decan of the house or the astrology sign. So not the house, the astrology sign. So if I go to Virgo right here, it is the 8 of Pentacles, which in tarot is the fruition, the results of hard work, the fruits of our labor, things happening, hard work being rewarded. In other words, seeing the 7 of Pentacles card, I should pull it out, represents hard work and now seeing the results of, right? So let's pull up this full moon here. So this full moon hits at that first decan of that 8 of Pentacles. Now, just to jump back on those cards, the next Pentacles is the 8 of Pentacles, and you get the 10 of Pentacles, which are very, very abundant. So basically, we're looking at a very auspicious, very abundant rewards, and Virgo means it's practical, it's applicable, it's useful, it's of service. And it's a result of something initiated in that new moon. But with that Saturn and Mercury in retrograde, there's clarity and confusion, there's a lack of maturity around this subject still. But now we may see that we've matured, but with the Saturn in combustion on the sun with Mercury there, we're looking at our abilities to communicate. We're facing the fears because of the Chiron and North Node conjunction. We're definitely clearing the fears that are preventing us from going on our true destined path, following our node. We have Mars and Venus conjoining, squaring Jupiter in this full moon right here. There's Mars and Venus squaring Jupiter. And then we've got this, the Chiron and the nodes conjoining. So it's like it's really rapid maturation, rapid growing up, rapid growth here somewhere, rapid results. All the planets are direct here for a little while until Mercury goes retrograde in March. So it's like we're really establishing something more now. It's gaining roots. We've matured. We're maturing around it. And if we haven't matured around it, we will. The way an Earth full moon is a material, shall we say, accumulation of something. So it's like tangible. It's practical. It's depending on what house, and we'll go through that. So this full moon brings a practical, and with Saturn in the mix, it's making us do it the right way. It's combust. So it's making us take this very seriously, making us contemplate, because it's in the sign of Pisces, being very contemplative about it, being very internal soul about it, making sure we're motivated, coming from the right place. Saturn in your Pisces, it's intuitively guided energy. But again, it's creating, like you say, long-term stability, long-term financial stability. And it's serious, taking something very serious, doing it right. And I can really relate to all of this because it's hitting, we're going to go into it, but for Cancer rising, Pisces is the 9th house, which is where my MC is. And I run these workshops and classes online. And I've been having a really hard time trying to formulaic them, or find my pattern, or find my course, or or how am I going to do these classes? And I mean, from that new moon, I started again. It was a period of starting it again with a new, but there's some sort of maturity I haven't achieved yet in my clarity around it, or in my ability to communicate it, or something. So it doesn't mean we stop. We still keep going at it, but I'm thinking on this full moon, we see the lessons learned from that journey of the Saturn oppressing it, and us not having clarity, and things. And you could say I'm seeing rewards because my 2 classes are getting booked up this week, which is really nice. So it's like, it feels like it's happening. It's in a material, practical way. So, and this is funny because I found a much more practical way to do my workshops. Like, it's really practical. So we're looking at like practical solutions. This is a solution-based lunation because of Venus and Mars being together in the sign of Aquarius, really close to Pluto, which is Venus and Mars coming together to serve. It can be within your own energy field, Venus and Mars, but it's intense because Pluto's right there. It can be very romantic. A lot of divine partnerships coming together to step into the soul contract and their purpose for being here on the planet together, servicing the greater good. With Aquarius, it's all about humanitarian, stepping up to that causes, and the intensity and the detachment. There's a sophistication. Venus and Mars have accumulated since the last couple cycles of Venus and Mars together. Where now Venus and Mars, or Venus is actually moving ahead of Mars now. Venus is in a much stronger position than it was, and so like Venus is kind of leading the way now, the feminine. But really, what's going on is that there is a detachment and a lack of emotional upset, because Aquarius is the energy of detachment. So it's like the two forces are able to come together now without any sort of drama, without any upset, emotional. It's able to put the nose to the grindstone and make things happen. Or the practical, again, is a Saturnian energy creating structure in the new earth, basically. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, well, one thing I'd like to interject too about what you were saying about Venus and Mars is that I've noticed within the circles that I travel in and with my client work that there is a different level or layer of the women that I work with really being in their power.
Yep.
And this has nothing to do with masculine and feminine necessarily, but it's almost like they've taken some of that initiative of Mars and then that heart forward or heart centered energy of Venus and merge them together and are really moving forward and stepping forward, stepping up in a totally different way. And that shows up in a softer type of leadership role, perhaps, or in some cases, it's more of a defined role as far as, okay, the boundaries or speaking to how they feel or really holding firm with their belief that they have around something and not allowing other people to bully them or push them around. And it's really interesting. I'm noticing it a lot with women in particular. It's almost like we were talking,
yeah.
you were talking about Venus kind of moving ahead. It almost feels like that similar type of energy.
Yeah. And it squares Jupiter, which always creates confidence. I've noticed in my experience, when any planet squares Jupiter, people feel more confident, more bold, more out there, more wanting to expand, more wanting to do things. So yes, I do. I think that the feminines, you could look at it as being more proactive, being Mars there, doing more action. And then for the masculines to become more connected to their intuitive knowing.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that is sex trining the nodes. So that's really, well, it's actually that's quite important. It's squaring, Jupiter, and it's sextiling and, it's trining the south node. So that's like enabling, hi, did I lose you, Amalia? That's like enabling us to sort of let go of the past, really let go of the past relationships that are not supportive of this new journey of feminine and masculine. Also a lot of, like I mentioned, divine partnerships, relationships coming into union, or you're releasing them, letting them go here. There might be rapid releases of relationships because of that trine. Sometimes trines are letting go. It's like you're able to do it. You're able to end a relationship that's not right for you. This is very supportive of that. All of a sudden you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then you've got, because of this Jupiter squaring, giving you the confidence, bolstering Mars, bolstering Venus. Chiron and the nodes. I mean, this is a really interesting time. The Chiron and the nodes conjoining, helping us get over ourselves, get over our issues, get over it, just move forward. It's like we all are messed up on some way. And I don't mean messed up like, but we've all got something that scares us, that we think we aren't good enough for, or whatever. We just got to get over it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's pretty much going through all of the planets there. Because when the Sun and the Saturn meet, this is a time of Saturn releasing an old story and starting a new story. And it's around career, financial structures. And so it's like we're really entering a new, well, we planted the seeds, but we're entering new chapters here, especially with these eclipses coming up, which we haven't spoken about, which we'll talk about next time. But we're starting to really see that when you said changing timelines, we're really starting to see an old life. We have been stepping out of an old life, and now we're really seeing the old life go, and we're really stepping into the new life more than we are stepping out of the old life. Like we're crossing that threshold. So it is hard to really see the new life yet, but we're right in between that. So we're going to start seeing it soon.
I would be curious if anyone, for whomever is watching this either live right now or in the replay later, if you would be inclined to leave a comment or chime in now while we're live around how that might be showing up for you, and share in your comment your sun, your moon, and your rising sign, and maybe a sentence or two about how it's showing up for you, because I know, I always say in all my videos, we learn from one another. And I feel that that is so true, particularly now. Writing the book about the disentanglement from my not anymore husband, that I'm marching along on the editing process. I've got a dear friend doing the book cover, and sharing that journey of letting go of a life that I had built with my husband at the time for 25 years, and having that, a lot of that turned upside down through a number of different things, but also recognizing that the infidelity that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back was only one small part of the story, and recognizing that everything that happened was part of a bigger picture, of a bigger story, of me really coming back to a relationship with myself and being ready for the next phase of my life. And I feel like that's a huge piece of what's showing up for a lot of people, maybe not the same scenario, but being able, really, I'm still finding myself unwinding some of that old life and that old timeline of family, and really diving into the sadness around things not working out the way I thought they would, and sadness and grief around the relationships that have changed with my kids, and even with my not anymore husband. There's so much there. So I'd be curious if anyone else has any experiences they'd like to share and what's coming up for them, because it might be a story that's really supportive for somebody else.
Well, you're really talking about the Eight of Cups right there. And that's where everything is in the first decan of Pisces. It's the Eight of Cups, which is saying goodbye to things, leaving things that weren't fulfilling in the past, letting go of past situations that were not, filling our cups anymore. So it's like, yes, we really are shifting timelines in that sense. And the other thing about the Saturn Pisces axis is, Saturn Pisces tends to be a karmic release energy. So Saturn is there, we're clearing up. People are kind of going through sort of feelings of shame around things they've done in the past, feeling bad about certain behaviors and it's like come to Jesus, or reckoning, the reckoning. And so a lot of people are feeling that with Mercury right there and Saturn there, where it's having a meeting with the sun, and it's purifying when it goes into Cazimi, and it's clearing up. So we're like going through all sort of shameful energies, or feeling bad about things, or wishing we hadn't made certain choices and things like that. Clearing that karma, which is basically forgiving the self. And then Virgo, the full moon, tends to really reveal where we have low self-esteem, where we're too perfectionistic. I know Astrolata's posted all over, I'm quitting the perfection game, like stopping trying to be perfect. So it's kind of like this full moon is about seeing where we try to be perfect, which really stems in where we don't value ourselves. If you're trying to be perfect, you don't love who you are enough, all that kind of thing. So we're really looking, and it also, Virgo, can be illnesses and sicknesses popping up, or with a full moon revealing the cause of something that makes you sick. So it's like, we're clearing karma. So you're forgiving yourself, you're forgiving your mistakes, because we're clearing in Pisces. We're going to go into Aries season now, where the nodes are, where we're starting fresh, when we have to clear some of this negative, lower density energies in our psyche body, and peel it and release it. And then we're ready, where we're purified. And this is the genius access, where you have a quantum field, because once you get out of that shame and out of that lower density feeling, that depression, that funk, which a lot of people might be feeling with Saturn in conjunction so you feel that funk or that shame, or where I've failed, where I haven't done good enough. And then what happens is you clear that out of you, and then you're ready to start fresh, and you've kind of come to terms with it, and you've forgiven yourself, and you've let go, and you've stopped judging yourself about it, or judging another about it. So there's that sort of purifying, that's called it's purifying Virgo energy. So then you feel cleared and ready, for the new timeline that we're talking about. So
Well, and I love the way you describe this purifying energy. And when it comes to shame and perfectionism in terms of a lack of self-worth, and being able to clear that and allow yourself that grace to give yourself a break for maybe choices that you made that weren't the best, but they were the best that you could do at the time. And really letting go of that need to be perfect and beating yourself up over not doing things quote unquote better. I know that's another big theme that's shown up. And I feel like this energy is very supportive of letting that go and moving to the next phase of your life.
Yes, because in a lot of the things that this full moon is going to bring into your life, you weren't doing because you didn't feel you were perfect or good enough at. You would have stopped, not just you, I'm talking the collective, us.
Right.
We were not doing something because we couldn't see that we were good enough or perfect enough at it, and all we could see are the flaws in it. And it's hard. It's easy for me to say this, but it's I suffer from it too. I don't post enough because I feel I'm not good enough or it's not perfect enough. And like I need to be perfect at on some crazy level, you know. So it's like that's what we're gonna, and then we're going to be working through that because we have to break through these things so that we can step forward and go to the next level, which is what this new timeline is pushing us to do. So we're facing all these like fears that stop us with that Mars and Venus right by Pluto, getting over our fear-based attachment issues in relationships, learning to be detached. And we've got the Chiron and the North Node saying it's time to go. We need to take our new destiny, get over the issues that are stopping you from taking these choices or taking action. So,
well, I can say
yep.
with my book, that's one of the big things was
Yes.
that was holding me back was the perfectionism around it, and also fear around what other people might think if I'm not viewed as perfect in some sort of way, which is so absurd on so many levels. I recognize, but it's still, there's that fear that's there.
Yeah.
And so now really I've shifted gears a little bit in terms of my perception of it and recognize that it's a story that needs to be told for myself as well as for others. And I'm just getting it done as best I can, but it doesn't need to be perfect. So I guess my challenge to anyone, or invitation maybe would be a better words, to anyone out there who might be in a similar situation, maybe not over a book, but whatever it might be, just put that fear to the side and just do it anyway. And know that in doing that, you are healing something beyond your wildest imagination. And it may not be quite as scary as you think it is.
Well, yes, because with Mars and Venus in the sign of Aquarius, it is the energy of getting the Aquarius is the energy of the eccentric, the oddball, the the ones that aren't afraid to be different. They embrace their differences. They embrace what's unique about them. So it's kind of like get over yourself, embrace who you are, get out there, show the world the real you.
Yeah.
And then you're going to do better. But then we're going to break through whatever karma our generation or this group of timeline people that we're all here together with, because we're all collectively going through all of this. So we're clearing shame karma about not being perfect, about some of our karmic actions that we've taken in the past that we don't love, that weren't in our right direction, but we're going inward, we're purifying, we're re-meeting with the sun, which is God, purifying, forgiving ourselves, and then we're getting over fears of imperfection and getting over our fears to be brave, to because that's Chiron and Aries is about being brave and about taking bold steps forward and initiating. And because of this Aquarian energy, we're all about being independent. So now we're going to be independent leaders. Everybody, we're all independent leaders. We're leaders in our own lives, you know. So,
well, speaking of leaders, shall we start with Aries and see what energy this full moon is going to bring? And Madelaine's going to be sharing the the energy for this moon cycle for each of the 12 signs. And I will be adding to that with a little bit of a remedy or a support in the form of flowers. So I'm using my LOTUSWEI flower evolution deck this moon cycle, and I'll be sharing a flower that you can connect with either by taking a screenshot of it or by imagining it in your mind's eye and asking that flower to support you. Or in some cases, some of the flowers are ones that are readily and easily available. So even purchasing them is beneficial, or purchasing a flower essence like this spray or some of the elixirs that you ingest. And there's a 10% off code in the description below for anyone who is interested in that. But that's another way to gain a little support, which might be really lovely during this challenging energetic time. So, Madelaine, Aries.
All of that. Okay. So Aries, so you guys have the nodes in your first house. So this is definitely a year, because we have the nodes in Aries for another year, where you're going to be very much a new identity. But again, it's always going to be a progression towards more authentic identity. You being more Aries, being more, which would indicate initiating more things and being bold and taking risks and being more selfish and doing what you want to do. Sorry, not to get distracted, but this is a full moon in Virgo in your 6th house, which is the house of what we do on a day-to-day that either gives us wealth or health. And it's in Virgo, over the Virgo house. So it's possible you see a big red flag around something that is health, that is a concern for your health, or in that new moon in Virgo in September 14th, you quit something and you're now reaping the rewards of this full moon. And you're now seeing the health benefits. Or if you did not do well by that, and then you might have a reoccurrence of the health issues, which now motivate you to quit even more. Then we've got, there's over a spiritual issue with that 12th house there. We've got a lot of planets in your 12th house. So you're very introspective right now. You're very, very going inward to discover what's hidden in your psyche body. You're paying attention to the self more. So, and this is a really positive full moon. So I'm saying you're going to see some positive results of some good caretaking, but also some new habits or disciplines or anything that you started around that new moon that you've been disciplined about and working at on a day-to-day basis. You're now going to see rewards. It could be about a work project. It could, a lot of musicians have planets in the 6th house, which is like detailed oriented practicing day to day, their ability to do detailed precision practicing. So whatever in your life that is like a work project or a work thing that you have to be very disciplined about and you work on day to day, you're going to see some nice rewards there. And, what else? You could get a pet, because that's the house of pets. And then let's just quickly look at you've got all these planets. You've got Aries, or either something is changing about their relationships or they're letting go of controlling relationships. There's some kind of a release in relationships, but they have a lot going on in the 11th house with Venus and Mars there. So there are new tribes, projects involving tribes. So basically, Aries are on the whole getting over some guilt and shame, past life karma that's been dragging them down. And it's been possibly causing them to be stressed and experience disease. Now getting clarity around it, clearing that, and then raising their vibration, their health vibration.
So I find it really interesting that we have the red bird of paradise for Aries, and the red bird of paradise, activates focus, and the message is get it done. And when I heard you talking about the last moon cycle and maybe not finalizing things or completing something or learning the lesson or getting the message about it, now might be the time. And it is you're able to get things done but with a new attitude, a new perspective, and you're able to take an effortless action. So I feel like for any Aries where maybe they didn't quite get it in September, they got it now, and it won't feel like a big challenge for them to follow through on whatever it is. It will feel very effortless, like they're ready to do it. They're ready to get it done. So red bird of paradise.
Yeah, look at how there's gold around that red, and that Aries red, which is action, and then gold, which is material, which is turning into the material alchemy, manifesting. I think this is a manifesting full moon. I'm really excited about that. Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a fun perspective on the colors too, Madelaine. I love that.
All right. So
All
now
right,
the counter.
Taurus.
So Taurus, you guys are going to have this you're going to have this full moon in your fifth house, which is a lot of fun, which is creative, which is, full moon. You could have a child. If you've been pregnant, you're probably going to you could give birth on this full moon. You could have your contractions. Or a creative project comes into fruition, a relationship, a friendship, or just a casual relationship turns into a more serious relationship with Saturn in the story. Both you and he or her needed to mature in your communication skills. What else would show up for that? Well, you guys are going to have a lot changing in your lives because you have Uranus Jupiter conjunction in your first house, so your lives are about to completely and radically change. It's going to be unbelievable, but just to throw that in anyway. So Aries is in your 12th house, so you guys Taurans are overcoming karmic fear of being bold, taking risks, living life more on the edge, risk taking, being more like Mars, basically. Taurans or Venus, and with all these planets, they're going to get a bit more like Mars, as we were talking about. Anyway, I feel like I've given a disproportionate amount of time to Aries and Taurus, but I'm just trying to think what I've left. Well, you have Mars and Venus in your 10th house in the sign of Aquarius. So there's a good chance you become collaborative with a soul contracted partnership, mate, work. Or like we were talking earlier, you really do get step more. If you're weak in your feminine, you step more into your masculines, become more proactive. If you're weak in your feminines, you become more intuitively and you take more intuitive measures to balance. But again, this is a 2-year cycle, so you're going to be detached and you're going to be more preoccupied with doing and producing and being productive and detached, not letting emotions get in the way. All right.
Taurus. All right. So I feel like the white water lily is a great support for Taurus in terms of activating awareness, and the message is sharpen your senses. Okay. All that's well and good, but something you had said, Madelaine, about just some emotional sensitivity or emotional awareness about other people. I think Taurus, they've got big hearts. They're ruled by Venus. However, there's also a little bit of a stubborn streak and a little bit about themselves, not selfish necessarily, but sometimes they're so caught up in what is in front of them. They're kind of like their perspective and point of view that they miss what might be better for everyone involved, and really taking account into what the other might need. And this flower really supports doing that. And having that sensitivity, we have the sun in Pisces, which is already a sensitive sign, having that sensitivity for what others might be going through, and also an awareness of what your true feelings are around anything that might be coming up that may have to do with a foundational structure in your life. We've got that Saturn there in opposition to the moon, or an emotional relationship or an emotional encounter. Maybe there's a situation where you're a little bit too Mars-like you're being a little too aggressive, and you might need to soften that a little bit, or maybe you need to be a little bit more aggressive. But having an awareness of where you are emotionally, having an awareness of the feelings of yourself and others, and taking that into account when you're engaging with people or situations. So white
I
water
really
lily.
think that reminds me of the energy of Jupiter conjoined Uranus. Isn't that white? Because Uranus is very electrical. It's very sort of like, it's a very explosive energy. So
Oh, that's interesting.
I
So
think
when is that happening? I don't want to get too sidetracked,
April,
but
yeah,
just
April
curious.
20th. April
Oh, so
20th.
it's coming up.
Yeah, but 21 degrees Taurus. And so, whoever's got any planets around there, expect a radical change.
20 degrees Taurus.
Yep. 20 to
Interesting.
21. Yeah, I think it's 21, 20.
Yeah. Check your charts, people. See what's going on.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Gemini.
that's affecting my chart too. Okay, so Gemini, yes, let's go to Gemini. Gemini is having this full moon Virgo in your fourth house. So family, real estate situation, home. It's funny because I know a Gemini who just bought a new, she put in an offer on a piece of real estate about a month ago, maybe, and it's probably going to come through right on this full moon. She's probably going to come in out of escrow right there. So it's like a piece of real estate comes through. Again, it's auspicious, so it's good. What else can we say for Gemini? So the sun, everything is in your 10th house. Your nodes are in your 11th. So this is a very social time. Traveling with the 9th house there, planets there in the 9th house, traveling or exploring or learning, reading a lot. Gemini, interestingly enough, my father's Gemini, he's reading a lot. And you're meeting new people because you have the nodes in the 11th, new tribe people that'll probably be significant for the long term or involved in the next chapter, the higher timeline we're entering. Jupiter, Uranus conjoins your 12th house. So you are going to make a sudden breakthrough in a karmic pattern you'll break free from, or a blind spot in your life that's holding you back. But basically for you guys, it's the fourth house. So family, new family, living situation. Somebody moves in with you, you move out, move in with somebody else, but a living situation, or let's say you've decorated a house, it's all done and complete. Go ahead, Amalia.
Right. Well, we have the giant spider lily. And when I look at this and then I think about family, it's almost like a little prickly, because family can be very nurturing and nourishing and supportive, but can also be one of those things where they push your every button and it can feel very difficult and challenging.
And there's also lots of them. There's like lots of them.
Lots going on. Yes.
Because there's so many needs,
So that's the energy when I look at this, but when it comes to the energetics of giant spider lily in general, it actually activates lightness and lightheartedness. And the message is free your mind. So if we think about Mercury being the ruling planet of Virgo and this full moon in Virgo, and we take into consideration that we might get caught up in stories in our minds that relate to home and family and maybe beliefs we have around what we can and cannot have, perhaps. This gives us that sense, again, it's that the vibe of effortlessness and simplicity. And so it's almost like the opposite of what this flower looks like is the energy of which it holds and which it carries. And so really keeping in mind to just take things light, easy breezy versus heavy and hard.
Nice message.
Yeah.
In other words, don't argue with everybody at home. No more arguing. Or, sometimes full moons bring up issues that need to come up to be resolved. So with Mercury there, you might all get in an argument. Hopefully not. But if you do, it'll clear out. It clears it out.
I was just going to say, it may be something that needs to happen. It's that, I kind of think about Chiron and the nodes in Aries. I mean, Aries, that fiery energy, just like burn it up, let it out and move it out. And then you can move on.
And be healed from it.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to look at Cancer, and you guys have this happening in your third house. So, social media, website, communication, talking to people, busy. Virgo is a busy energy, by the way. I got to add that in. But third house is kind of a busy house, a lot of short distance traveling, teaching. It's mercurial, it's the micro. So if you're teaching or writing or doing online stuff, because you've got this Uranian transit happening in your 11th house, so your social media platform and network could start really doing better, start coming up, which would be great. We've been not struggling, I don't want to say about it, but just going at this for a long time, and it feels like you never get anywhere. But you just, if you've been focusing on doing good content, you're going to reap the rewards here on this full moon. And you know, it's a very this is basically what we're doing is we're putting abundance with the house. So good, maybe meeting new people or new people contacting you, or maybe people that you met back in the 14th. Some things that happened on the 14th of September now brings you abundance, some sort of abundant. Maybe you met somebody or you had a new client then or somebody, and you didn't, and nothing happened from it at that time, but now they contact you and now you go forward with them on a project. You could get involved in a co-writing or communicating or on a blog, or um you know, basically it's basically or you could redo your website. I might be doing my redo my new websites, basically communicating with others and out in the world. And from any communications you have done, it will bring you rewards and results, or you start doing communications and out in the world that bring you rewards and results.
So I love and this
Oh.
one's a little bit hard. Let me see, I'll tip it a little bit there. The papaya flower. And so it activates receptivity, and the message is gentle is powerful. This relates to collaborations and working together with people. So I feel like this connects in with what you were saying around, some of the things you might be posting, or some of the interactions you've had, or some of the relationship dynamics. This is also a balance of masculine and feminine aspects. This also has to do with community and thinking about things in terms of a community mindset. I mean, third house is also neighbors, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken as well. So,
Yep.
community, close knit or close short distance travel. So that's just that is part of your community. So the papaya flower, the way I'm receiving the message from the papaya flower is to be gentle with yourself and others in terms of your communication, and be aware of the possibilities of collaborations with people within your community, because there might be some really powerful way that you can move the ball forward in your work or in your community, whether that's maybe a philanthropic project or something along those lines, when you work together and take more of a gentle approach versus more of a pushing or aggressive one.
You know what? That's very interesting, because I've really noticed that about my work, how when I put things or post things, I'm feeling very calm. And like with my workshops and my classes or whatever, I'm very low. I don't want to say low effort, but it's just a Virgo effort, but it's not like hard push behind it. Go, sell, 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 or any kind of that energy. It's more just like, this is what I'm doing now, very gentle. So it's interesting. And that's Pisces energy, that gentle flow, which I much prefer to work in that flow than like that push energy.
Well, what's interesting about you, Madelaine, I think, is that, I've noticed that too. Even though your emails are kind of the same as they've been, there's a different feel to them. And and you're a Sag sun, but you're right on the edge.
Yep.
So you have that fire, but I feel like it's not always consistent. And so, and then there is that your Cancer rising that's softer and more mothering and nurturing and more flowy, which is great in so many ways, but not necessarily great when it comes to like, let's get her done with business. So, and sticking with that. So,
well,
yeah.
it's just that energy of, I think, Saturn being in Pisces is softer energy. And that's the house, the ninth house, which is for Cancer, it's in your ninth house, which is most Cancers work in the spiritual, psychological.
Yeah.
So there'll be less Aries and more water. As Aries covers their 10th house and they've got the nodes there. So they've probably been feeling like, I got to get out there and fight in my career and, all this sort of thing, which is a good, I mean, it's life, but it's like with what cards you're saying is more done in a gentle, soft way.
Exactly.
I resonate with.
Yeah, that's perfect. So now let's shift gears to Leo, which isn't always gentle and soft.
Leos, yep, the leaders. So Leos, you guys have, oh, come on. Okay, you guys have this in your second house. Nice, nice. Hopefully that's tangible money. Money coming in for Leo, tangible or a practical way to make money, or a gift or talent you possess literally practically makes you money and income, or some kind of a possession you gain. You could gosh, let me think of something. Somebody gives you a gift or something, but also a lot of times full moons in the second house show you where you aren't valuing yourself, where you don't have pride in yourself, where you don't believe in yourself, and your self-esteem issues are coming up to be seen. So you got to pull up self-value, or you start seeing in this full moon that you really do start valuing yourself a lot more. And so you're now going to bear the fruits of that you're resonating at a more higher level of self-value. So you attract more possessions. Second house is our possessions, what we value, what we own that's valuable. Some sort of valuable possession could come into your hands, or a talent or a gift that you possess in your own talent body now bears you money. You sell a piece of art if you're an artist, if you have planets in your second house. You're often artists. And this is a Virgo energy, so it's like earth energy. So a lot of artists have earth energy over their second house. And if they have Mercury there, they're very good crafts, good with their hands. So you could suddenly start making things or start selling things that you've made. Let me think of anything else. Okay, so Aries over the ninth, you have the North Node over your ninth. So you're really transforming and changing some sort of deep belief. You're having a whole new perspective, and also travel is opening up your mind, opening up your belief system. And with Chiron there, obviously you're getting over some sort of insecurity, lack of self-belief, or unable to hold belief strongly of your own. Now you can. And then we've got big relationship stuff happening with you guys, Leo, because you've got Mars and Venus in your seventh house as well as Pluto. So your relationships are transforming. And I would say you go into co-partnerships or involved with dealings with partners, new partners, any kind of a partnership. Letting go of partners that aren't working, partnerships that aren't working. And then we've got your a lot of planets right now in the eighth house. We've got Saturn in the eighth house. So you're restructuring your income, joint resources, investments, things like that, other people's money, and really facing fears around your ability to be stable financially. So this full moon really does bring you nice money.
So Madelaine, like pretty much everything you said, I've been dealing with that.
Really?
And one of the big pieces, and I would love to share this with any Leos out there who have had self-doubt and they have a belief system that's so ingrained and so set in place that they can't even imagine any other way of viewing the world when it comes to money and lack. That's a big, big theme, I think, for many people when it comes to there's not enough resources, there's not enough of whatever it is. And once you have it, you could lose it, and that sort of mentality. And one thing I've really been playing with is that idea of your beliefs create your reality. And it's not just a mental belief, it's like an inner knowing that nobody can tell you anything different because you just know this is true for you. And one of that for me was that the universe is infinitely abundant and that there are more than enough resources for everyone if we are living in tune with our soul's mission, our soul's music, our utilizing our gifts and our talents for the betterment of ourselves and others. It's not just about self, but we also have to really take ourselves into account. We can't ignore ourselves either. It's finding that balance. And so just playing around with this, what I noticed was that I just felt so in tune with that concept, let it be. And then I went back and looked at my bank statement and realized that some of my investments had significantly paid off in just that short period of time when I shifted that belief on a fundamental level. It wasn't this like, oh, I'm going to say the universe is infinitely abundant and poof. It was this, I feel like it's been an unwinding for quite some time. And I anchored it in a way that really stuck. And, that doesn't mean that it will continue to, I need to continue to nurture that. I need to continue to stay in tune with that.
Yeah,
So
sorry to jump in here, but that really resonates with that message of Saturn in your 8th house, which is maturing you. This is that maturing and your thinking. So it's communication and thinking. So you're really maturing about your thinking process around your finances and your investments. Sorry.
I feel like that's true for me. I would love to hear from any other Leos as far as that for them. But the peony is the flower, and it activates magnetism, and the messages attract abundance.
Wow. Perfect.
So you really can't get any more on point than that. I mean, that's
and the 8th house, you have Saturn there and all these planets in Pisces in your 8th house, which is really where we come to reckon with our fears that are blocking our abundance. It really is. You have Pisces over the 8th house. It literally means the reckoning of your fears,
Well, they're definitely pronounced.
Delete them. They're deleted after this. And then you become you're buoyant. You're more abundant.
Well, the other part of this too is it magnifies gratitude, appreciation, and contentment. Nice. And I feel like that's part of that process too, is the gratitude for the blessings that you currently have and the appreciation for things that are present now and that are to come, and feeling content with wherever you are. That's, I don't know, that just feels like a very strong message for
very strong, because the other thing is like, if you feel like you don't have something, you just continue to not have it.
Right. And it's funny. It sounds so simple, and it really, really is. And it's also that, I think this comes back to what I was saying before about belief. It's that believing it and also knowing it in the fiber of your being.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of an example to help anchor that in for people. I mean,
I see when I do a lot of chart studies of like famous people and musicians and stuff, and I find in general musicians they suffer in poverty. Mostly they're Pisces rising, and Pisces rising tend to go through long periods of poverty, self kind of imposed poverty almost. But then they go through this big transformation and they become very, very rich. So it's like they bust through that fear of like being, it's a scorpionic thing where you just think you're dying of starvation, so you're going to die, but then you wake up the next day and you're alive. So that fear just completely eradicates out of your psyche body, and then all of a sudden you're really, really rich. It's like Jim Morrison was like that. He's a poor, starving poet, and then all of a sudden he's this huge success. So that's what happens. It's like you just embrace that element that the only thing you've got, you're because you just walked this path of no self-belief, that you've walked yourself to this complete dead end of poverty, and then you're dead there. You're just like, well, I'm just dead. And then for some reason, after you survive that, you suddenly believe in God and you become this higher vibrational, that's a transformation thing. So it's interesting.
It is. And I feel like too, that's, it also depends on a lot of other planetary aspects, whether that is your destined path, but there's the potential for it. And it really is. I mean, I was just talking to my guide this morning about the and we'll talk about this more when we get to Pisces, but the pessimistic pathways in the psyche of Pisces
Mhm.
is it's so entrenched,
Mhm.
and to recreate a pathway that's a little bit more on the optimistic side, I feel like is a lifelong journey for
Yes.
Pisces.
But you know what, that it's usually those are the ones that make that transformation, because what happens is they don't believe in themselves. And then all of a sudden they believe in themselves. They
Yeah.
wake up one day and then all of a sudden they're successful because they believe in themselves. And I literally say to musicians when I read for them, you're going to be successful when you believe in yourself.
Well, let's talk about Virgo, since this is in their first
Oh yeah,
house. Let's see
Virgo,
how
Virgo,
they're
Virgo.
believing in
So
themselves.
yeah, this is a big full moon for Virgo on your first house and your ascendant. You're going to be feeling very optimistic and excited. Things are going to some sort of long effort or struggle you're going to break through comes to comes to fruition, tangible success for you in some area, solution comes in. Um, the moon and the sun and Mercury and Saturn are in your seventh house of relationships. So there's a lot going on in relationships for you guys in the next 3 years, 2.5 years now, where you're just restructuring things. Also kind of clearing karmic relationships or karmic patterns in relationships. But this full moon in your first house, a health solution comes in, because first house is your body. You could suddenly really reap the rewards if you've been working out, taking care of yourself. You're reaping a lot of the rewards, or you start to really take care of yourself more and start working out. You have a new identity. Oftentimes full moon in the first house, you have a whole new look. What else? First house full moon. You do find a practical way to earn income. Some kind of income could come in, because this is a very auspicious, this is a full moon of harvesting of because Virgo is the harvest in tarot, it's the harvest card. So it's very much about tangible results coming into you on the that you've deserved, that you've worked hard for. And plus, again, overcoming some sort of self-critical perfectionistic thing, breaking through that. Go ahead. I cannot hear you.
Oh, sorry, I had it muted while I was shuffling. So we have pink primrose for Virgo, and what I find so fascinating about this is that you had mentioned the Virgos might have a new look, and right before we got on the call, I got a text from my daughter, who is a Virgo, with a picture of her with her new glasses. So
Oh,
she's got a bit of a new look going on, which I thought was that's so cute. Like, that really jumped out at me when you said that. But
wow.
what also jumps out at me is with the pink primrose, it activates rapid growth, and the message is make it effortless. So here we are again with the message of effortlessness, which I feel like is a message for everyone, regardless of sign. Make it effortless. Don't push too hard with things. But what the pink primrose is telling Virgos has to do with their big vision of what's possible for themselves. What big project or what big idea do they have? Are they allowing themselves to really dream of what's possible, and being able to take their creativity and think outside the box a bit for them as well. They're ruled by Mercury. There's this, mental energy. It's very practical, very pragmatic, very organized. Use that to your advantage. Really get in tune with that. And with this full moon, it may highlight for you where you're not. It may highlight for you where you are, and being able to really sync up with that vision that you have for yourself for the future, and take that effortless action, that intentional action that you need to take to get you where it is that you want to go. Yeah, just a lot, a message here about personal growth. That feels like a big theme here on this moon in general, but for Virgos in particular in their first house, it is their personal growth, their themselves.
Yes. And with Mercury in on the mix, people might in general be also looking at their inner conversations, because it's Kazemi. So how are we talking to ourselves? Are we creating more negative energy by our self-talk, by being self-critical? But that's cool. Great for Virgo.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy that your daughter, that whole thing happened just now.
Yeah. I know. I didn't even have a chance to comment on her text because it happened just right before. So
So
yeah,
funny.
pretty cute, pretty
All
fun.
right, so Libra, you guys have um Virgo in your 12th house. So there's something, the 12th house is our blind spot. It's karmic stuff. It's stuff from the past life. It's hidden issues. It can be long distance travel. So it's almost like there's some sort of resolve of a long journey of karma clearing that would have started around something that started new moon, some kind of an action. Because remember, this is not just karma clearing in your energy field. I mean, you're going to see some sort of something that started around September 14th that you did, a new action clearing that was going to clear karma you're now resolved of. So let's say Libras are ending lots of relationships because they have the South Node. Say on the new moon, you spoke up. Libra, they're letting go of self, what its word is, holding back or self-editing for the relationship, which is why it's weird. My throat chakra got, so this Mercury in Pisces, which is debilitated, is opening up the speaking from the emotions, opening up that karmic issue that Libra have to always control things by not speaking the truth. So there's some sort of karmic resolve of that where you, but you did it, you took action in September, and you're facing some truth, you're communicating well now. And it might have just been really when you face these deep truths and deep things, deep scary issues, it's weirdly traumatizing in a weird way. Energetically, you may not be, nothing may be really happening, but in your energy field you're experiencing a sort of fear, stress energy around having communicated something or said something that went against your comfort zone, or went against that, keeping everything, the eggshells not stomped on. So in other words, you stomped on an eggshell and it scared you. Anyway, long story short, long story short, the results of that courage is now bearing fruit. You've cleared, you're seeing why you always do it. You're seeing the repeat pattern that you create in your karmic cycles and relationships. You're letting that go. You're letting that fear-based karma thing stop you from holding on to things.
So we have the passion flower for Libra.
Okay.
And so, I mean, just take the name passion flower,
Good
and
point.
throw that on down to Librans and the 12th house. Okay. So there is a deepness to what they're going through right now, a deep resolution and a deep spiritual connection and completion that's taking place. So remembering that when you're in this place of completions and you've been through as much as you've been through, and you're moving through some of these karmic patterns, it's exhausting. And so the passion flower reminds you to rest. It reminds you that healing can happen in your sleep. It reminds you that deep calm and peace and contentment are available to you. It reminds you that you can now let go of any mental chatter, because again, this is a Virgo full moon ruled by Mercury. Let go of any mental chatter that might be keeping or perpetuating the old story. Allow it to just let go of that, and be able to rest in the knowing that you completed whatever it is that you needed to complete, and that you are spiritually connected and you have everything that you need already.
Yeah, nice. Also Libras are relationship centric, and that's a relationship card right there. You can see the two flowers.
Two flowers.
Also the 12th house. It might be that Libras are releasing karmic relationships and now are ready for their past life relationship, their true soul, because the 12th house relationships are the true divine mates. Usually you meet your true person with a 12th house transit.
Oh, that's an interesting little
Yep.
tidbit.
Yep.
Okay.
So it
Okay.
could be that as well, because that's coming up, you know, with this Mars and Venus transit.
Interesting. Very
So,
interesting. I've never heard that, Madelaine. That's really fascinating to me that,
yep,
yeah. So a 12th house transit for the moon.
can be the moon, it can be Venus, obviously. I met my person with a Venus in the 12th house and a full moon eclipse in the 12th house.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Multi-whammy.
I think Jupiter going into your 12th house, if you're a woman, you usually will meet up with your true twin flame, your true person, your, true soul connected other half.
Okay. Well,
Yep.
just food for thought, folks.
So,
Okay. Scorpio, shall we move on to
yep.
that crew?
Scorpio, let's get you guys on there. You have Virgo in your 11th house. So I would say some sort of a social, your website or your social media does better. You meet, or people you may have met, or yeah, I mean, let's say you went on a dating site 9 months ago or 6 months ago, and you may be connected with somebody, talk to somebody, now you meet them. That could happen. You meet new tribe people that are new groups of people. Social networking, or you go to a party, you get invited to a party where you meet significant people for your life. It's a very sort of social, or you start making money through your social media platform. Maybe you've been monetized, all of a sudden you start making money at it, or you start to be more proactive on your social media website and you get more clients and you get more recognition. What else? You're more service, you suddenly step up and you suddenly get clarity of how you can really be of service and you start doing better. It's a very high service energy, by the way, Virgo. I kind of needed to forget to add that in. There's so much. But anyway, so you're really expressing yourself more on social media. Let me think. I know a couple of I know a Scorpio sun who is more proactive now and showing her work on social media more. So maybe she's going to start seeing more results from that. Practical results, like people paying for her drumming class. Because she's putting out not drumming class, but like singing bowls and all that kind of stuff. So she does like advertising for, and she's posting things. So maybe now she's going to see some sort of more results from that.
Oh, that would be great for her.
Yeah, I hope so. Very good.
So
Yeah.
the banana yucca
Ooh.
is the flower. Let me see if I can tip it so people can see it a little bit better. Is the flower for Scorpio. And it activates hidden potential. And the message is uncover your secret talents, which I feel like lines up a lot with what you were just saying.
Yeah.
This also connects with a magnification of collaboration and leadership. So some Scorpios, they can be tricky sometimes in terms of there's part of them that kind of wants to be out there, but there's a bigger part of them that doesn't. And so, however, they have this tremendous connection to occult wisdom and have a lot to share and have talents that would be very valuable to the whole, to other people, but they tend not to be ones to really want to share that. So this is an opportunity for Scorpios to have unexpected leaps and bounds in their progress when it comes to sharing. And so if we're talking about the 11th house, I'm going to kind of follow your lead on that, Madelaine, when it comes to sharing on social media, online, and in social situations. And you can even see with the flower, there's like this little tucked and hidden petal, but then there are these other ones that are ready to go. They're leaping, they're reaching. So it's, maybe there's little parts of you that want to like stay hidden and quiet. And then there's other times allow yourself to follow the lead of the energy that's pulling you forward.
It's funny because both of the flowers, we had the yellow and the white background, represented the 11th house or the Uranian energy. I think that might have been Taurus, that Uranus.
Yes.
Uranus is very electrical, very bright white energy. So it's kind of like both those cards. So it's almost like those are the energies where they're coming out onto social media, coming out into the light, as it were.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because I mean, and I find that fascinating for myself personally with Scorpio ascendant and a Taurus moon,
Mm-hmm.
and also feeling that pull to share more vulnerably instead of the seemingly perfect version,
Right.
which
Yes.
is seemingly perfect, by no
Right.
means is.
Yes.
So
Yep.
very good
Exactly.
message.
All right. So Sagittarius, you guys have Virgo in your 10th house. Yay. I'm a Sagittarius sun. I love it.
Yay!
So yeah, so that's good for career, financial income, financial results, or practical applications of your career moving forward in a practical way that bears practical application, useful. Virgo ruled by Mercury, involving talking, communicating, thinking, writing. So basically, results of some sort of effort with your career, Sagittarians. Um, hard work has been involved in this. I know Sagittarians that have worked hard. So great for your career. And then let's quickly look at the Aquarian over your third house. So Jupiter is in your sixth, squaring that. So really confidence, a lot of confidence coming into the Sagittarians, where they're really more confident to speak out, come out more, talk more. I kind of feel that way. I can see my son's like that. He's Sagittarius. He's definitely much more on his social media, more face forward, more frontal. So it's kind of like being very, very that feminine and masculine energy balance, bold and intuitive at the same time, you know. So what else can we say for Sagittarius? Yeah, because your ruling planet is in the sign of Taurus, which is sextiling this new moon and trining the moon and sextiling the sun, which does create an easy flow, something happening, something working out, something. I know some Sagittarians that are going to be very happy with this full moon. Very.
Yourself included.
Yeah. Yes. No, things have been going really great, but I'm excited about my new classes. They're starting to kind of bubble up more, and I'm excited about that. So, yeah.
That is really cool. That
Yeah.
is really cool. So, um, jasmine is the
Mm.
flower for Sagittarius, and I'm just gonna share a few keywords. Confidence, which you already mentioned, Madelaine, radiance, magnetism, attraction, and appreciation for your own beauty, but the beauty within you and without. So it's not just necessarily your physicalness, your physical beauty, but it's also the inner beauty that you're radiating out and that you're sharing with the world. And it's a reminder to express your appreciation more. And that could even be expressing your appreciation for yourself, to yourself
Yeah.
as well. So it is, I feel like this is such an awesome flower for Sag in terms of just that radiating confidence in whatever you're working on, whatever projects you have. And you can even see it's this kind of expansive energy with these flowers. It's like ready to bloom, ready to
Yeah.
blossom, ready to show who you
I
truly
also
are.
like that green color of Virgo, and that is the materialization, things materializing, you know. I feel like this full moon is for everybody, the materialization of long efforts of because of Sally
Mm.
being in the picture. It looks like we're starting to see everyone's been efforting and sort of for a long time. Like I've been working on these classes in my workshops for a long time. But it's partially I haven't had clarity about how to take them forward. But my point is that these we're seeing results from these from clarity now gained from having persisted at something for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I can feel that. I can feel that too. That sense of it's not all the way clear, but it is becoming clearer
Yes.
and feeling that push, that nudge to okay, keep going,
Right.
take another step. And that's all you need. You don't need to know 10 steps from ahead, just one.
Yep. And that is Virgo. It's like long, it's all these earth signs. It's diligence every day to day for long periods of time before you see the sprouts, you know. So I think we're going to
Yeah.
start getting sprouts, which I'm very happy about. Okay. So
Capricorn.
Capricorn. So yep, Virgo in your ninth house. So a whole new philosophy. You might start teaching Capricorn, or you might start learning something, or also traveling. You could work involving travel, a new belief, a whole new change of belief, which enables you to improve your health. More disciplined. Now you discover you need to be more disciplined about something, so you start working more. Capricorn are very disciplined, but like there's blind spots. Everybody's got blind spots, so they see a blind spot now where they realize they need to be more disciplined in a certain area, involving maybe spiritual practices or writing. If they're writing, they need to do that on a more, you know, more of a diligence. And then now they're seeing the results of their diligence from something that they've been persisting at. Got Aquarius over their second, good for money for Capricorn, Venus and Mars. Pluto transformation is going to occur in your finance, your beliefs in finances, how you spend money, how you earn money. There's a total transformation with Mars and Venus there. You're really balancing your energies around making money, which is very auspicious. So this is good for Capricorn. You're going to see you've got Jupiter and Uranus in your fifth house, so something really radical shifting and changing there on April 20th. But I would say this full moon brings you another thing. This full moon could bring you abundance around a situation that you never believed could work, like a certain job you didn't think you'd ever get, or you didn't believe you'd ever really be hired for that. You get hired for, because the ninth house, usually when I see full moons there, people really have like a wow, a transformational belief, like, whoa, wow. You wake up to a way to make money. It's really easy and practical, that kind of an energy.
So interesting that this is the theme, because this literally just came up yesterday and today with Misha around making money and feeling aligned with how things are unfolding, and a little bit around value, self-value, and the value that you bring to other people. And, you know, what I find so interesting is what you just said about abundance around situations you don't believe will work. You know, I wonder if, because it's this moon is in the ninth house, it's an exploration of some deeper spiritual philosophy, or an opening yourself up to a divine wisdom that allows the energetic flow of the abundance, so that situation that you didn't believe would work would appear. It's almost like a combination of
like,
things that need to happen.
Like suddenly believing in law of attraction. And
Yeah.
like,
For instance, yeah.
Something,
Yeah.
you attract something and you suddenly go, oh my God, I believe in this now, kind of an energy.
And I think with Capricorns, and then if you're a Capricorn and you're a man, it's kind of a double, it's doubly potent in terms of
it's
prove it to me.
hard. No, I'm kidding.
But it is. I mean, it's like they want to see it. They want to give me some proof, show me how this is true, versus, I think the ninth house is that faith and that trust and that belief in the possibility, the belief in the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So
now I believe in the possibility of something. Very good.
Right.
Yeah.
So it feels like there's a little bit of a tandem approach here. So we have the Hong Kong orchid for Capricorn, and this activates self-acceptance, and the message is express yourself. Now, I know a couple of Capricorns where being able to express themselves has been a challenge. And now being able to do that, knowing that that's going to open up a potential pathway for them, it's almost like when you're able to express yourself in a situation that may not directly affect your abundance, but may be that key to unlock that pathway that leads to the abundance. They may not seem like they're connected, but they might be. So it's just open yourself up to the possibility of expression and feeling comfortable with yourself. I think that's another key thing with Capricorns is they often don't feel like they can be authentically themselves. They feel like they have to show up a certain way. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes you do have to, but really finding that place of comfort within yourself around how you show up in the world.
Well, doesn't that tap in on that whole Virgo being perfect? Because I think Capricorns want to come across as perfect.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Yeah.
And it's just a reminder to
And
love
they
yourself.
want to be perfect in their work. They're perfectionistic with their work and stuff. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Just, it's just a reminder to appreciate yourself, to love yourself, to express yourself,
value, see your value.
yes, see your value, see your worth, accept where you are in the moment versus wanting to push and or pull or strive for something now like that.
Yeah. And or let something that's not perfect about you stop you from going forward.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're
Or the
on it.
fear,
Yeah.
or the fear of expressing yourself because you fear being rejected or causing conflict or having or creating a problem. It's
Yeah.
just knowing that in expressing yourself, you are actually healing yourself and potentially the other person, because that dynamic that occurs between you and the other, whether it's someone you know or it's a potential client, you're playing roles for each other. And
Right.
so following getting out of your own way and getting out of the default fear mechanism and going into a place of courage to speak your truth or honor your own value and worth is that salve for whatever it is that you might be struggling with.
Yes, absolutely. And that's, even though, in astrology, we have that Virgo full moon, we're looking at that same theme in the Chiron North Node conjunction and with the Pluto, Mars, and Venus. So it's like the message is echoing throughout the astrology right now, all the way around. That message is very
Wow.
similar. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. All right, people, you can't escape it. This is just what's happening.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're on Aquarius, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so you guys are having Virgo in your 8th house, full moon in your 8th house. So joint financing, oftentimes fears really pump up on a full moon in the 8th house. I certainly have had financial fears popping up, but then I think something opens up, some kind of investment looks good, or some kind of inheritance can come in, or joint financing with another person. Something opens up to your spouse's income, so you have more, you have perhaps better joint, an investment could go up in value, or a property could go up in value, or if you've been trying to refinance your house, it comes, or if you have a joint financing with your spouse, one of you, your joint finances becomes better. What else? You could see that you need to end joint finances because the full moon brings illumination, and you then decide to divide your assets, or you get clarity, or you get sudden clarity about what you want to do with any income money that you have in savings or invested. You could decide to use some money to build something, depending on the rest of your chart. You and your spouse decide to use money to build something. What else? But a fear could come in around your finances or debt, because the 8th house is debt. So then you become very proactive, or you've been proactive about it, and now you resolve it. You're able to clear the debt. Go ahead.
Well, we have the Royal Poinciana, and this activates conviction, and the message is ask for what you want. And I feel like that's pretty much what you were saying when it comes to money or other people's money. It may be that you need to ask for a loan, or maybe you need to ask somebody to pay you back a loan that you gave them, or, taking on whatever challenge might be ahead of you, because the eighth house is also can be a really deep, shadowy space of challenge. Taking on that challenge, because knowing that that is part of the healing, which again also connects with that Chiron and North Node that you were talking about a moment ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like there's not much more to say about this. It's really just have conviction, ask for what you want. And I think that's an important message for Aquarius right now.
Yeah, because Aquarius has Mars, and Aquarians are going to be going through a lot. They've got Pluto in their seventh house. I mean, we just don't even want to open this whole can of worms with Aquarius right now. They've got Jupiter. Sorry, Jupiter's in the sign of Taurus, but they have their planet Uranus in the sign of Taurus conjoining Jupiter. So
they'll be feeling some things.
yeah. Okay, so now to Pisces. Pisces, you guys are going to have this in your seventh house. So a new relationship comes to fruition, partnership, business partnership, new clients can be full moon in the seventh house. Marriage, relationship, absolutely could be a relationship comes in. With Pisces, you've got Saturn in your first house, and you've got Mercury there. So there's a certain amount of maturity that you had to learn to do to become ready to be in this relationship. It's possible you met them around, or you met this person around September 14th. Like my son is rising sign Pisces. He may have met a bunch of musicians. A lot of musicians that are in bands have planets in their seventh house. That's how you know they're in a band, because they have all this like joint collaborative stuff going on in their charts, so it's like you might have met a bandmate, which now makes your band the right band, and now you guys are able to earn money at it. So what else can I say? I think 12th house, you're dealing with karmic, you're balancing your feminine and masculine energies there in that 12th house of the sign of Uranus, where you're karmically clearing fear-based issues that pull you out of alignment into more too much masculine or too much feminine, too much yin, where you don't do anything. Pisces have a hard time with that, like yang, yin, how to balance. They're very yin, so there's a balance they have to learn to do with their yang. So that's pretty much it for Pisces. What did you get?
Pisces has the nectarine blossom that wants to shine and reveal that they're among friends. It activates a sweetness. And one of the biggest messages that I feel of this is, for Pisces, where might you be aggressive in your approach, or where might you be uncomfortable in your life amongst maybe relationships or projects? Notice any inflammation or any inflammatory relationships that are in your life, because they might be not the best suitable bandmate or partner. But then you also might notice that there is a really gentle sweetness with some folks in your life, and really having an awareness around that. There's a friendly energy to this, and a desire also to be of service. So that's another theme that I feel like is important for Pisces too, is that it's, some of these collaborations and some of these projects, Virgo is, like I think you said before, is about being of service. So there is a theme for Pisces when it comes to these partnerships that you are making. It's not just about making money, or it's the creativity of it, but also about helping someone else, supporting someone else. It's not just about you, as a key theme here. And, even with this, you can see there's this solid, kind of stem with all these, different flowers coming off of it. It's that inner knowing, that inner conviction, and then being able to bring other people in and work together for the good of all, you know, and
Yeah.
on a solid structure or foundation going
Yes,
forward.
it's a hard balance for Pisces because a lot of Pisces are too nice and they give too much, and then they feel victimized.
Yeah.
Happen.
Yeah.
It's like hopefully finding a balance here with all of that for Pisces,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because they're very giving, they're very generous, they're ruled by Jupiter. They give a lot.
Yeah, it's a
So,
big energies, big opportunities for everyone
yep,
to
I'm happy
experience.
because I think we all need this right now. It's kind of like, I know it's the second full moon of the year, but I think it's the most fruitful of the year
Mm,
so far. So that's good.
that
Yay
is
for
good.
yeah.
That is good. So we thank you for being with us. We thank you for tuning in every couple of weeks. Like, subscribe, pop over to Madelaine's channel if you're viewing on mine, pop over to mine if you're viewing on Madelaine's, because that really helps both of us continue growing our businesses and being able to do these and support everyone on your journeys. And if you're looking for any support or guidance or any further clarification or clarity around your direction, Madelaine and I both have our unique set of gifts and talents that we bring to this world, and we'd be happy to support you in whatever way we're able. And all of our information is in the uh,
Comment
description.
or description, yeah. But I just was going to remind everybody I have classes. I'm teaching basic understanding of astrology, and I do it in 5 classes. I get you from basically not understanding or knowing anything about astrology to actually being able to pull, beginning to start pulling the chart. So we do it in 5 classes. It's $50 a class, and you can ask questions at Zoom. And with the first one is all about the history of astrology, which is really fascinating. So to join, email me if you want to join. So my email's below.
Yes. Yeah. And I haven't done any structured classes of Madelaine's, but just in our conversations and our interactions, I know it's super fun, and you'll gain a lot of knowledge and wisdom in a way that feels easy and lighthearted, not like challenging and difficult, because astrology is not necessarily, it's straightforward in a way, but you need to understand some basic components of it before it really makes sense. So, yeah, and then I'm going to have more information coming out about my book and subsequent programs to help support people in really accessing the truth of who they are, accessing their own inner light and divine power, and being able to shine their light out in the world and be authentically, truly themselves in ways that they maybe have been scared to do, and then creating a life that is beyond your wildest imagination. And it can be a super fun process when working together in a playful way and making day-to-day changes. So we look forward to supporting you all and seeing you again in a couple of weeks. Keep your eyes peeled on our social media, and we'll let you know when that will be. Definitely before the next new moon in Pisces. Yeah.
Yep.
We look forward to it.
All
All right,
right.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye.